How's it going, everyone? This is Augie Fox, and today I'm going to be doing a leveling guide for Enhancement Shamans in Classic World of Warcraft. As you may know, fresh servers came out a couple months ago. I did try Horde for the first time. I usually play Alliance. I'm trying out Shaman. I'm having a pretty fun time. And I kind of want to make a quick guide on things I've learned along the way and some general game knowledge I have. I've been playing since vanilla. So I'm going to break this video down into 5 categories. It's going to be mana efficiency, priority, gameplay/rotation, talents, and weapon progression. Alright, so first things first, we're going to start with mana efficiency, which is huge in Classic World of Warcraft. You go a lot, which stands for out of mana. Spells cost a lot of mana, and you just have to drink a lot. Drinking can be expensive. Waters are pretty expensive from the vendor, so make sure if you have a mage friend or there's a mage around in your group, have them make you some water. It's obviously free for them. Also, you're going to want to keep up with first aid, which is really easy. That's just so you don't have to use your mana to heal yourself. So obviously you could just bandage up when you get low on health and you don't have to drink in that situation. First aid's really easy to keep up with, and I would recommend it for honestly any class. Another thing, keep mana pots around, honestly. They are not very expensive on the auction house, especially right when the game just started. Everyone's making them and barely selling them for more than vendor price. So yeah, just keep some mana and health pots around. They're pretty useful. Another mana efficiency tactic would be don't overkill things or don't overheal yourself. If you get a mob to like 5% health, don't blow a spell, a max rank spell to kill it unless you're in danger of dying. Just wait for your next auto attack, or you could use a lower rank spell. And then obviously don't use mana to overheal yourself. You could always use lower rank spells, which is another mana efficiency thing. Use lower rank spells like I have a lower rank Lesser Heal. I have a lower rank Earth Shock, which I use for interrupts, right? This Earth Shock only costs 250 mana, and the max rank costs 240. So if I need to interrupt someone, and I don't really have a lot of mana on me, I could just use the lower rank. Alright, so last thing I want to talk about with mana efficiency is kite to your totems. So let's say I fight someone right here. I have my Strength of Earth totem. I have whatever, like a Searing totem. And I kill it, and then I'm going to go fight another mob. I want to bring this mob to my totems, because I don't want to have to resummon the totems, obviously. That's going to cost a lot of mana. So go ahead and pull the mob, and then you can bring them to your totems here. So that's, something to keep in mind. Alright, next up is going to be your priorities. So for stat priorities, you're going to want strength and agility over everything else. Strength gives you attack power with your melee weapons, and agility is going to give you crit, which activates your flurry, which is really good. But every stat's good for Enhancement Shaman, so stamina, intellect, and spirit are all solid as well, but you're just going to prioritize agility and strength, and then obviously if you can get gear with attack power or hit rating or crit on it, you're going to want that as well. Next up for priorities is going to be Rockbiter weapon versus Wind Fury weapon. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple. You're going to use Rockbiter weapon when you're doing solo content and Wind Fury weapon in group or dungeon content. The reason being is Rockbiter weapon does give you more consistent DPS, so it's just better overall. But it does give you threat when you use it, so it's kind of like a tank spell almost. So you don't want to pull threat, but that's pretty much it. And while we're talking about Wind Fury weapon, I do want to say the actual enhancement spell that you use is stronger than the totem. So when you are in a group using Wind Fury totem for your warriors or rogues or whatever, just keep the spell on yourself, because the spell, if you read the spell, it gives you 2 extra attacks, but the totem will give them only 1 extra attack on their swings. Last thing for priorities is keep your lightning shield up at all times. It's one of the most mana efficient spells in Classic WoW. It does a good amount of damage. It gives you 3 charges. So they do go pretty quick, but just always kind of refresh it. It does solid damage, so keep that up. Alright, so next up is going to be gameplay and rotation. I already went over a few things like kiting to your totems, using some lower rank spells, not overkilling, and not overhealing yourself. But next thing I want to talk about is pulling mobs. So caster mobs in Classic World of Warcraft, they start casting instantly as soon as you pull them. As you know, Earth Shock does interrupt cast. So what I like to do with caster mobs is I'll literally just pull them with Earth Shock, and it interrupts their cast instantly. So let's kind of test it out here. Boom, he got interrupted right away, and then they're gonna have to come to you. So that's kind of how I like to pull caster mobs. Alright, and then any other mob that I want to pull, like a melee mob, I like to pull with rank 1 Lightning Bolt, just because it's really cheap. I don't really use it for damage, so I keep that on my bars. Or else I'll just pull with Flame Shock, which is my regular rotation. So let's just do a quick pull here. I have my Lightning Shield up, I have Rock Biter weapon up. So I'm going to fight these two mobs right here. I'm going to hit one, Flame Shock the other one. The totem I like to use is Strength of Earth Totem, and then I'll use a Searing Totem. But you gotta keep an eye out with Searing Totem. It's gonna attack other mobs, like it'll attack this one behind here, so you just gotta be careful with that. But yeah, I just like to keep my Lightning Shield up, and then I'll just auto attack pretty much. And you could throw in some shocks if you'd like. At this point I do have Storm Strike, which I'll show you right now. Keep Lightning Shield up, boom, Storm Strike. Kill him. Also, I do want to let you know when you Storm Strike, you do get 20% increase on your nature damage spells. So if I did Storm Strike this guy, it's on cooldown right now. Earth Shock will do a good amount of damage. But also your Lightning Shield is nature damage. So that'll work as well. And then one more thing I wanted to bring up here with your gameplay and rotation is, let's say I'm fighting two mobs. And I kind of, if they were my level, it'd be a little harder. I would do damage to one mob, and then I would use my Stoneclaw Totem. It's going to tank the other mob. Since I haven't done any damage to it, it gets threat on it instantly. And then I could just focus on this one mob. I could heal myself. And then I could start fighting this guy right here. So that's kind of a nice little thing to do. And then obviously if you're running away, you could just Earthbind Totem and kite away to heal or bandage. Or if you have to get away. Alright, next up we're going to go over talents. So first things first, I botched it a little bit here in the beginning, but you're going to want to usually take shield specialization, but I didn't really plan on using shield, so I went ahead and did ancestral knowledge for the mana. Next up is 5 out of 5 in Thundering Strikes. I like to take improved Ghost Wolf. And then you're going to get two-handed axes and maces. This just allows you to use them. You can't train them at a weapon trainer. I like to get enhancing totems. 5 out of 5 flurry. This is one of your best talents. Next up I get 3 out of 3 on elemental weapons. I get parry, and then I do 1 point into improved weapon totems. You can come back and get the other point if you'd like later. But then that takes me to weapon mastery, 5 out of 5. And then obviously your big spell, Storm Strike. After this level 40, you can kind of go back and fill out other talents, or there's some cool restoration talents you could take. I'll put a link in the bio of some talent options. Alright, so last thing in the guide is going to be your weapon progression while leveling. So I use staffs pretty much exclusively early on until about level 30, until I could do RFK. They're just your best options from quest rewards. This is unless you can get like BOEs off the auction house or some axes to drop. But yeah, I use staffs. The big weapons you get are going to be the Crescent Staff and Wailing Caverns. You're going to get Corpse Maker from RFK. And then you'll get the Ravager from Scarlet Monastery Armory. And then there's a staff in Zul'Farrak. It's called the Chief's Enforcer. And then there's some Maraudon weapons you can get, and Blackrock Step weapon. But yeah, I always check for BOEs as well. I do have a BOE on right now. It was pretty good price. I couldn't get Ravager to drop, so I just bought this mace. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.